So when you go on social media nowadays, of course it exaggerates everything and blows everything up to make it seem like these things typically happen pretty often. And I hate to confirm that it actually does happen a lot more often than you'd think. You'd think people would have some fucking common sense and only throw around racism when it's actually appropriate. So I've got a couple of stories of where people at work try to claim racism or make it seem like it's some racial type fucking deal. So my first one is I was working at this gas station and it has a little, kitchen deli type area, right? So, common sense, you gotta have your hair in a hairnet, all that stuff. And, we even make exceptions. As long as you could put your fucking hair back and have some control over it, it's no big deal. Now, at the place I was working, it was a pretty known ghetto area for sure. And so it wasn't even the sisters doing it, let's be real. You had a bunch of these raunchy-ass white women having fucking weave hair extension competitions, whoever could get the most, just the biggest, colorful, scraggly, longest fucking ones you could ever imagine. They come in looking like fucking peacocks with their hair and their nails. So the one day, our manager sits us all down, pretty much, doesn't sit us down, we more or less just kind of stand in an awkward smoking circle without smoking. And she pretty much tells us, we've gotten too many complaints of how people look back there, so just fucking tune it back a little bit. If you can't control where your hair goes and shit, don't be fucking wearing it, but we gotta crack down on it. So this one gal and me are talking, and a few others join in, and then she's like, see, I think this is a racial thing because I don't think she understands how hard it is for black people to control their hair and do this with their hair, yada, yada, yada. And then right after she says that point, it's followed up with, oh yeah, no, I don't care if she has a mixed daughter or a black daughter, she can still be racist, da, da, da. And I'm like, I looked at her and I'm like, I want you to repeat what you just said to me. You're like, I think she's racist, but I don't care if she has a daughter with that same race that I'm claiming her to be racist of. And it just blew my fucking mind. And she just kept talking about it and everyone started agreeing with her. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and distance myself. This is fucking ridiculous. This is going to escalate. It never did, luckily, but nowadays people could claim that shit for just the pettiest of reasons. So the second story is a bit more recent. I work at a grocery store at the moment, and the third shift dude that was the manager there, coolest stereotypical chunky redneck white dude. Like, it's straight out of a fucking cartoon. Like, the coolest dude ever to talk to. But he was real adamant about, look, I don't ask for much, so when I ask you to do something, just fucking do it, dude. Like, don't waste both of our times. Like, he was just straightforward like that. Well, one dude called out on the shift, so he goes up to the one sister, and he's like, well, I'm gonna need some help doing this tonight, if you don't mind, can you, get to this after you do your initial work? Played it off, she's like, alright. Not only did she decide not to do that little bit of extra work, she also left early and didn't finish her own work. So suffice to say, he was not very happy. So next night she comes in and he's just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you didn't tell me you left early or anything. Like, and he reminded her, he's like, dude, I don't ask for much. Like, when I tell you to do something, just fucking do it. She started cussing at him, and of course he cusses back because he ain't about to take no shit. So they get into the screaming contest, fucking she goes home, managers get called and everything. So fast forward about a week or so, I notice she's in a different department and everything's finally kind of died down. And he ends up telling me what happened when she got called up to the big boss's office. She tried to say he was being racist towards her. Now, keep in mind that there's only a couple people on that shift, and he asked her because he needed her fucking help. So she starts making up that he said all these comments and everything, like, oh yeah, he's coming after me specifically because I'm black, da-da-da-da-da. The big boss looks at her and he goes, okay, so that's what you're going with, huh? So just in case you weren't aware, you realize his kids are black, right? Like, his ex-wife is black and he's raising 3 mixed kids by himself. But I heard that and I busted out laughing, dude. Like, I would have paid a large sum of money to have seen the look on her fucking face when the boss said that he had a black kids. Like, it was just so fucking great. So he's just like, you sure this is the route you want to go? And then of course she starts making up other shit. And he's just like, look, dude, like, he's willing to meet you halfway. It's not that he has a problem with you, but if you have a problem with him, we still need people. You can go to a different department. And that's pretty much what happened. She started getting trained in somewhere else. And of course, she ended up quitting anyways. I guess she was too embarrassed to work there for much longer. And I don't really blame her. But yeah, the amount of times I've heard people claim racism at work over just subtle disagreements, and it's usually things that are like out of people's control or whatever else. It's just so insane to me. But luckily, these at least ended up on a more humorous note. Luckily, nothing serious happened, because it would be so unfortunate if these things escalated any worse than they had to. But yeah, if y'all have any stories that are just obnoxious like this that y'all want to share, feel free to do so. It's pretty interesting to talk about, and it's also good to know that the jig is kind of up, right? Like, they can't just be throwing around serious accusations like this whenever it benefits them or they think it'll benefit them. But yeah, I hope y'all had a good laugh out of that, and y'all have a good one.